Welcome back to Arrival Entertainment, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about the sequel to the 1996 nostalgic favorite, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Space Jam: A New Legacy stars LeBron James, and it tells the story of LeBron James and his son getting trapped in this digital space area inside the Warner Brothers vault, and LeBron James has to play a basketball game to get his son back from the evil bad guy, played by Don Cheadle. Before I get on with my review, let me just say that I did not grow up with the original Space Jam. I know a lot of people my age did, and a lot of people my age consider this movie a nostalgic classic, and they love this movie, and that is perfectly fine, but honestly, the first time I watched this movie, I think I was in middle school. It was either middle school or high school, I can't remember. But I didn't really think much of the movie. I thought it was fun, but I didn't really have the urge to watch the movie over and over again. So I bought the movie on Blu-ray with the intention to watch it before the new movie came out, and then I eventually bought the 4K because, you know, I'm a collector. And I watched the movie the day before I went to see the new movie, just to refresh my memory of the movie. And wow, does that movie not hold up. I can understand people being nostalgic about it, and like I said, that's perfectly fine, but someone who's not nostalgic about it, yeah, I didn't really care for it. It wasn't for me. I'm sure if I grew up with the movie, I'd enjoy the movie a lot more, but it was barely okay for me. I didn't really care for the original all that much. But nevertheless, I was still pretty excited to see this movie because I had seen what some hardcore fans were saying about this movie before I went to go see it. I went and saw the movie pretty late. And a lot of hardcore fans were really trashing this movie. They just did not like it at all. So I was mainly excited to see how someone like myself, who doesn't have any connection with the original movie, would think of it. Would they like it more? Would they like it less? Or somewhere in the middle? And this movie is weird for me because by definition, this isn't really a good movie. It's very cliche. LeBron James doesn't really hold this movie together. Some of the performances are very weak, and a lot of the humor doesn't always land. But this movie is so goddamn weird and nuts with what it does that I kind of enjoyed it. I don't know what happened. I thought about the movie when I was driving home, and I came to the conclusion that this movie is a complete guilty pleasure. Like I said, by definition, this is not a good movie. But something about it just made me entertained with this movie. And it's weird because, like I said, I didn't care for the original. I thought the original, when I went to rewatch it, was going to be a guilty pleasure, but it really wasn't. That original movie, I honestly didn't even laugh all that much. But with this one, I was kind of laughing for how dumb it was and how dumb some of the humor was and the annoying references to other Warner Brothers movies. My God. They just whore themselves out with reference after reference after reference of Warner Brothers movies, which, you know, they can do that. They own the rights to those movies. But I was looking at it and I was like, I should be hating this because of how many references are here. I should be hating all these references, but I'm really not. I was strangely entertained by them, and I can't really explain why. It's obvious to say that the Looney Tunes characters, they are the best part of this movie. They work great off of each other. They basically carry this whole movie on their shoulders because LeBron James, he's no actor. You can tell at times he's maybe reading off a cue card. I mean, I'm not certain for sure he was reading off a cue card, but it feels like at times he was kind of reading off a cue card. But honestly, other times, I didn't think he was too bad. It's weird. It's not quite 50-50. It's more 70-30, if that makes sense. 70% is not too good. I mean, it's not awful, but it's just like, yeah, it's not that good either. But 30%, it's like, okay, that was pretty good, or that was all right. That was handled pretty well. So the Looney Tunes characters, they are the best part of this movie. The human aspect is pretty cheesy. And the human plot, I should say, is pretty cheesy. And I think that's what you'd come to expect with a movie like Space Jam, because, let's be real, guys, hardcore fans of Space Jam, this isn't Citizen Kane. This isn't Toy Story. This isn't an amazing animated movie or live action movie that would be regarded in the highest marks of cinema, if you will. The original's pretty corny and pretty cheesy and doesn't really hold up all that well. So I guess the fact that this movie, the human aspect, was pretty corny and cheesy too, you would say, well, that's kind of the point. But I don't know, I just didn't care for it. And that's probably the most that I can legitimately say about this movie. If I were to pick apart this movie, I just didn't care. Yeah, there is a good message for kids in this movie with LeBron James and his son, and that was handled well enough, I guess. It's handled well enough to the point where if you really do like this movie and do care about it, you can get behind what's going on. But if you're not, then you just don't care. Now, about those references that I mentioned earlier, well, like I said, they really whore themselves out in this movie with all the Warner Brothers movie references that they just throw at you in this movie. I mean, there's posters on the Warner Brothers lot that are... They tried to make it subtle, but it just came off as more obvious. Like, there's a poster for the Suicide Squad that's coming out. There's a poster for Joker. Which, by the way, why are R-rated movies being promoted in a PG movie? For kids. There were quite a bit of kids in my theater. I think that's pretty funny, but weird at the same time. And I kid you not, there is a full scene from Mad Max Fury Road. And I don't mean it as they took a scene from Mad Max Fury Road and animated it to look like it's from Mad Max Fury Road. No, they legitimately took a scene from Mad Max Fury Road, placed it in this movie, put 2 animated Looney Tunes characters in it, put LeBron James and Bugs Bunny in a car, made them look apocalyptic, and they play out the scene from Mad Max Fury Road. I am not kidding. That's stupid. That's nuts. That's weird that, it, like I said, an R-rated material is being promoted in a kids movie, but at the same time, I was pretty entertained with that sequence. Like, I was really watching it, and I was like, why is this here? But then as it was going on, I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of entertaining, but this is still pretty dumb. And don't even get me started with the end basketball game. How many characters were watching this game that I kept focusing on because, you know, they make it obvious. Like, they try to make it subtle, but it comes out more obvious. Like, I kid you not, there's Batman and Robin from the 1960s TV show. There's Jack Nicholson's Joker. There's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. There's Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And there's characters from The Matrix and Mad Max characters. And I'm just like, what are we doing? You guys are trying to make it subtle, but it's coming off obvious because you're just paying attention to the background while you're also paying attention to what's going on in the basketball game. It was weird. Like, they went a little too overboard with the references. I get there were references in the original, but this one went way too overboard. They really needed to tone it down. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm sure you want to know, spoiler-free as possible, is Michael Jordan in this movie? Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Just go see the movie if you want to know more. So in the end, guys, like I mentioned earlier, by definition, this movie is not very good, and I've seen a lot of hardcore fans, a lot of people who are nostalgic about that first movie, really not liking this movie. But at the same time, I was weirdly entertained with how bad this movie was. I'm not kidding when I said that this movie is a complete guilty pleasure, because I want to see the movie again. I want to buy the movie on Blu-ray and just not care, have a good old fun time with how stupid and dumb and kind of bad this movie is, while enjoying the aspects that are pretty good. I'm not saying this is a totally trash movie. There are some good elements in it. It's just that the bad stuff outweigh the negative, or the bad stuff outweigh the positives. So if you're a fan of the first movie, I would still say check this movie out. Again, it's not that good, but I'm not saying it's terrible. There are some good aspects in this movie. It's just that keep in mind your nostalgic aspect of the first movie is not going to be lived up here. If you don't have that nostalgic feeling of the first movie like I do, I don't know. I don't know if I can fully recommend this because, like, I got lucky with the fact that I think this movie's a guilty pleasure and I enjoyed it on that aspect. But if you didn't like the first movie, you're probably not going to like this movie either. So, I don't know. This recommendation thing I'm doing is kind of jumbled and all over the place, but at the same time, the movie's jumbled and all over the place, so it kind of balances out. If you want to see it, then go see it. If you don't want to see it, then don't go see it. That's basically all I can say. And overall, I'd say check this movie out at the Redbox. I don't know. I wouldn't say, if you're a fan of this movie, I wouldn't say check this out at the theater, because it's not really something you gotta rush out to see. But yeah, that's probably what I'd give it. Check it out at the Redbox. Not really much more I can say, really. So that's my review for Space Jam: A New Legacy. Just like always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the movie down in the comment section. Does it live up to the original, or does it fall completely on its face? Whatever you think of the movie, let me know down in the comment section. And just like always, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I plan on seeing Old and Snake Eyes, so look forward to videos for those two movies coming out very soon. Again, thank you guys as always for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, take care.